Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana is set to present his latest fiscal policy framework to a joint sitting of Parliament's Standing Committees on Finance and Appropriations. He's seeking support from all political parties in Parliament, hoping that they will vote to adopt the fiscal plan. Godongwana has conceded that the two previous failed attempts were a learning curve for his office, the Government of National Unity and the Parliament. Newzroom Afrika's Vaylen Kirtley joins us now live from Cape Town ahead of the parliamentary sitting. A very good morning to you, Vaylen. And the Minister yesterday also stressing that, listen, it's the first time that you had to deal, quote, with this irritation where you have to have this consultation to various political parties, considering that you have a coalition government that is currently governing the country. But on top of this is that you need to try and make sure that you're able to pass the budget.
Thank you very much, Elgin. Yes, the Minister speaking openly and frankly, that certainly was what we experienced at the business breakfast, where he was the keynote address, and saying that he continued as business as usual until he realized that in a coalition government it's not quite business as usual and a lot more consultation is needed. Eldrin, for you and I, and for many people in South Africa, the budget will be a single-day event. It happens, the Minister presents the budget. I suppose our experience this year has been a little bit different because of the fact that this is the third attempt and finally it has been tabled now. But as much as it seems like a once-off event, the budget is in fact not a once-off event, and it goes through different phases. So we've had the planning, we've had the drafting, we've had the consultations and the oversight, and now we're in the legislative process in order for that budget to actually be approved by members of Parliament. So what happens here is, or in this stage, the Minister tables the budget and then the scrutinising, the debating by members of Parliament begins before they actually approve it and importantly sign the budget into law. And it's not just a single legislative paper, but in fact three different papers, starting with the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. The fiscal framework looks at the economic policies as well as the projections, the revenue projections that are set out. That is then adopted before the other two bills are able then to be signed into law in order for our budget to be implemented in South Africa and for the spending actually to get underway. The two other bills that will be signed once the fiscal framework and revenue proposals has been adopted by members of Parliament, which needs to happen within a 16-day period after the budget is tabled. Those bills are first the Division of Revenue Bill and thereafter the Appropriations Bill. And the bill for the Division of Revenue is an important one, especially when we bear in mind Vaylen 2.0, which the Presidency and National Treasury have implemented to try and fix systemic problems within South Africa, and they've already noted in Vaylen 2.0 that municipalities are going to be a big focus area, and it's when that bill for the Division of Revenue is signed in, which looks at the spend for national, provincial as well as local government, that is actually distributed. So we are now in that process. Legislative approval process by members of Parliament is well and truly underway when we talk about budget 2025 is concerned. So the Minister today at 10 o'clock, between 10 and 2 p.m, he's going to be meeting with the joint committees from not only the National Assembly but as well as the National Council of Provinces in finance as well as appropriations, and we'll be following that closely. Of course, there's been so much focus on the budget and also just a deeper appreciation of what that means. This is something that the Minister highlighted. He said perhaps people don't understand the debt to GDP ratio, and that's why he said it loudly and clearly right at the top of his budget speech that we are spending 1.2 billion rand per day. He wants to put it into the minds and the hearts of South Africans that this is something that we desperately need to tackle.